Hi everyone, welcome to a new video. I just want to clear something up after a few comments on our previous video. This shell is going to be re-dipped because there's rust in the seams, rust in the box sections. We just felt that the best way forward with this car is to do all the metal work, have it dipped again in acid, have it neutralised, and then have it e-coated. Hopefully that way we'll get all of the rust that's in the seams, in the box sections, and they'll get a nice e-coating as well. I have contacted a couple of acid dip companies. They have said that they can't guarantee 100% coverage inside the box sections, but I just think it's the best way forward for this car. So that's why we're not painting the inside of the box sections. That's why we're not using weld through primer, and we're not taking the surface rust off, because ultimately, if we did that, it would be dipped again, all of that would get removed, and it would be completely pointless and a waste of time. So hopefully that clears up a few of your questions. Let's get back on with the metalwork. First things first, I'm going to screw the jacking point back in place and weld it into position. Now I can pop the seal back into place and use all my original screw holes to line it back up again. Just checking the gap between the door and the sill before I finish welding in the front edge. Well, that is the sill fully welded in now, and the hinge bracket fully welded in as well. Next up, this inner wheel arch. This wheel tub is made up of two separate pieces that overlap and spot weld together. I've already removed the first overlapping bit where it was all rotten from the spot welds, but the metal's really thin behind where that overlap was, so I need to remove that and weld in a new section. With all the welding done and ground down, I'm just using the single-sided spot welder to put back the factory type spot welds. Well, there we go. That's the inner wheel tub finished and looking factory fresh. Really pleased with how this has come out. Okay, next up is this panel. It's pretty horrid on the underside. And then, yeah, it's, let me just grab my hammer. It's pretty soft here. Kind of sounds like mashed potato when you hit it. Get that. Right, let's get that removed. That is a prime example of why you never know what's inside a box section. That is in pretty bad shape. So we've now got to repair this. We'll make a section to go up in here and then we can put the repair panel in place. Okay, so I've just removed that section and I now need to make a new piece. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. So this is the piece I've cut out. Basically, I want to make this piece, including that, which then has this return lip here. Ignore this bit, this is part of the box section that goes on the outside and we already have a repair piece for that. So now I've made that, I just need to put this kink into it here, so I'm going to measure that and use the stretcher to put the shape in. Just flip it round so you can see what I'm doing. So that is 73mm from where I've cut it. So I'm going to mark 73mm from the end. And then I need to stretch where this line is and around that area to get that to kink round. Right, that is all of the metalwork inside this wheel arch repaired now. Two more bits to finish off on this side and then we can move over to the other side. Okay, next up, you can kind of see rust coming through from the back of this panel, and that's where it's spot welded to the inner wheel tub. So I'm going to take this piece out, make a piece and put it in, and then finish off our front door gap. And then that's this side finished. So the wing panel isn't completely flat, so I need to put a little bit of shape into the repair piece. A few passes on the English wheel and it's got a nice curve to it. Here you can see I do a few welds and then cool it with the airline. This is to stop the heat distorting the metal and causing any warpage. Once I've welded the outside on, I make a small return lip and weld down the back edge. This is cheating in a way, but I like to do this because it then enables me to grind back the edge to make the door gap spot on. The last thing I need to do is just use the hammer and dolly to planish out the area that I've welded. I spend a little bit more time on this wing because there is some accident damage and it is a little bit ripply and I just want to get it as nice as possible. Okay, this side is done now. So we've got the sill nicely gapped up with the door. Again, this gap down the back is a bit big, but that will be addressed in the bodywork stage. Gap down the front of the door is nice and even. Wheel tub all done. Longitudinal and jacking point. And I've got the brace out as well. So that leaves the floor to do this side, which we can only do when we've sorted out the issues on the other side. And a hole back here. But yeah, pretty pleased with how that's gone. So the door's gapped up pretty well. Everything's gone as planned. So let's crack on with the other side. Okay, I'm going to get stuck straight into this side by bracing the door gap up and removing all of the sill. Okay, as you can see, the longitudinal this side is all original, so this is nicely spot welded on. But yeah, underneath it's looking pretty gnarly. It's really thin and horrid, so we're going to replace all of this and then I'm going to clean up all the areas and get it prepped for a new sill. Okay, so where the floor spot welds to this longitudinal, I don't know if you can see, but it's really thin. So that's this lip here, which the floor welds to. I think I'm just going to replace all of this all the way along. It's just not really strong enough. So yeah, cut that off and replace it. and as if by magic, it's got a new return lip. Okay, so as you can see, that's all of the underside lip repaired. The next thing we've got to do is repair these, because these are pretty thin and pretty gnarly. Okay, so this is the piece that I've cut off. It should be a flange around here. So you can see that's the remnants of the flange. Flange there, and a really small one there, which I had to grind off because that was attached to the tube. But other than that, pretty straightforward. Well, there we go, we've replicated this. We've got the flanges back on it. We put this little pressing in as well. So that is now ready to weld in. Okay, so we made and fitted the one at the front, and I've just had to make two for the back, and they're mirror images. Yeah, let's get them fitted. Well, there we go, that's the longitudinal now welded in. It's all spot welded along the top. Spot welded here, although I've buzzed back over that repair, so you can't really see them now. We had to do a repair here and a repair behind it, and about 2 inches along here that we've had to let the repair in as well. Oh, and we had to put this flange on as well. So a few little repairs before we could get that on, but it's now ready to test fit the jacking point and the outer sill. So there we go, that's the end of another video on this Porsche 356. We're making good progress now and it's starting to look a lot more solid. So hopefully in the next one we'll look at getting that sill finished on that side and hopefully the flooring. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.